And welcome to the Average Marks Pro Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Patrick Fry, and for the first time in 64 episodes, I get to do this one solo. So this one should be interesting. Be sure to follow us on Facebook at The Average Mark. Subscribe to us on YouTube, which we are broadcasting right now. Also follow us on Twitch and our Periscope as well. Our Periscope, I believe, is up and running. Mikey O could not be with us here today. He's feeling a little bit under the weather, so we wish Mikey O a speedy recovery. Get well soon, buddy. Hope to have you on back next week. I'm sure we will, though. But for today, Patrick Fry, myself, will be rolling the solo dolo, as I like to say. So there's a lot to talk about. A lot has happened over the last week here in especially in WWE. A lot has happened here. Also, a little bit of talk here as we let's look at the rundown here for the Average Marks episode number 64 for February the 23rd, 2019. Of course, Monday night, Roman Reigns announced to return to Monday Night Raw to give us an update on his battle with leukemia, so we'll dive into that. Also, our first show since Elimination Chamber, we will review that pay-per-view, or I will at least. Also, this Kofi Kingston push, we'll talk about that as well. That has certainly something that has just seemed to have arisen in the last couple of weeks. And then also talk about the NXT call-ups. Maybe we'll talk about, I don't know, that dead crowd they had over in Lafayette on Monday night as well. And then a couple of releases, actually a few releases from WWE in the last 24 to 48 hours, I believe. We'll talk about that as well. Also, Ring of Honor New Japan Honor Rising the last two nights, or two mornings, I guess, here in America took place. We'll talk about that as well. Also, Ric Flair had a surprise birthday party. He's actually going to have another birthday party, I think, Monday night on Raw in Atlanta, unless that's scheduled for maybe a week from, I can't remember if it's scheduled this Monday or the Monday, a week from this Monday, so I'll look into that. And then the first member of the 2019 WWE Hall of Fame, first inductee, was announced. Of course, that's D-Generation X, and we'll talk about all of that as well, as this is the Average Marks episode number 64 for February 23rd, 2019. So let's dive into our first topic. I went over the social media. I'm not used to doing this. This is usually Mikey O's shtick, goes over the social media and stuff. Like I said, follow us on Facebook. Also follow us on Twitter, too, at The Average Marks. And then, again, on YouTube, which is what we're broadcasting on right now, along with Twitch and Periscope. So we got all of that working. And let's see here. All right, so first thing we're going to talk about, obviously, the big announcement, Roman Reigns will be on Monday Night Raw to update us on his battle with leukemia. It was, posted to the WWE website. I don't even know. They don't have a date on here. But basically, last October, Roman Reigns, also known as Joe Anoa'i, revealed to the WWE Universe that he would be stepping away from WWE, and he relinquished the Universal Championship to focus on his battle with leukemia, an illness that actually came back 11 years after his initial diagnosis. This coming Monday, he returns to provide an update on his treatment live in Atlanta, which confirms that is also Ric Flair's birthday celebration. So yeah, Monday Night Raw is going to be stacked. I would think they're going to open up with Roman Reigns coming out announcing whatever it is he has to announce. Even Vince McMahon tagged Roman Reigns, said he will address the status of his fight with leukemia this Monday on Raw. #fighter, #proud, #classy. And of course, now a lot of folks trying to speculate, I guess, what is it that Roman Reigns is going to announce? Is he going to announce? You don't think he's going to come out and say that obviously the situation has worsened, and you got to think it's going to be some sort of positive news. Otherwise, they wouldn't even have Roman on Monday Night Raw. So with that being said, what could the positive news be? Obviously, a return to the ring would be the best case scenario. I mean, let's say he comes out on Monday and says, I can return right now, and he fights Monday Night on Raw. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm still trying to figure out what's going to happen. A lot of folks coming out. Some folks said maybe he'll be in Seth Rollins' corner at WrestleMania. Maybe he'll return for a match at WrestleMania. There's, some articles out there saying Vince is trying to push for the comeback of Roman Reigns to have a match at WrestleMania. Against who? Not sure yet. Some folks talked about him being, of course, in Rollins' corner at WrestleMania when he faces Brock Lesnar. Maybe Roman comes back, and I heard something about him doing a six-man tag with maybe, I'm trying to think who it was, maybe with Finn. Who was the other one? Against Corbin, Lashley, and McIntyre. And it was going to be Roman, six-man tag with Finn, and I'm trying to think who the other person was. It's slipping my mind right now. That was a rumor. We don't know. We're going to find out on Monday. My guess, if I had to guess, it's going to be some good news. Other than that, I'm thinking maybe he'll be in Seth's corner. But then again, we don't know what his condition is. We don't know if he's good to go. We just don't know. So we can't really make assumptions until we hear what Roman has to say. But I think it will be good news. Hopefully, he'll say he'll return to the ring. It may not be, on Monday. It may not be in the next few weeks. But he'll say, I'm good, but, I got to finish this off, and, in a month or two, I'll be back. After WrestleMania, I will be back, or at WrestleMania, I will be back. I don't know. So certainly Monday Night Raw is going to be interesting right off the bat because I have a feeling this segment will happen first right off the bat. And, so much speculation as to what Roman's going to come out and say. It just we'll have to wait for Monday night. And for anybody who's listening, on Monday night, February the 20, Saturday, February 25th, Monday night, February 25th, excuse me. We will live stream on our YouTube, Twitch, and Periscopes. We will do a live broadcast of the reaction. I will react, and I'm sure Mikey O will be in the chat as well. I invite everybody to come hang out with us in the chat, and I might even stick around and talk about it afterwards because obviously whatever he comes out and says first is going to be some big news. And if he doesn't come out first, then you know what? We'll just sit here and live stream Monday Night Raw until he comes out and gives us his big announcement. As, of course, we started doing the live streaming, the live reactions, and we're going to usually, the plan is to do only go-home shows and shows right after pay-per-views, the SmackDowns and Raws before and after. But obviously, I think this is certainly, something a lot of fans are going to be tuned in for. So I think it's appropriate that, we do a little live reaction stream to at least just Roman Reigns' segment. So we'll do that on Monday night. So be sure to, like I said, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitch or Periscope. That's where we will broadcast it on Monday nights. Of course, Roman Reigns returning on Monday to inform us or update us on his battle with leukemia. Now let's rewind and go back to Elimination Chamber. Elimination Chamber took place 6 days ago, last Sunday. Here are the results for anybody who may not have watched it. Buddy Murphy defeated Akira Tozawa for the Cruiserweight Championship to retain that. Bayley and Sasha, the first match of the night, they were crowned the inaugural WWE Women's Tag Team Champions by defeating Carmella and Naomi, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, Nia Jax and Tamina, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan. I had the Iconics winning that, and I was a little disappointed, but Bayley and Sasha, that would have been my second choice, honestly, Bayley and Sasha to win that match. So they certainly deserve it. Looking forward to seeing, they're talking about they're going to, defend this on Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. Apparently they showed up at an NXT taping and said, we're going to defend this on NXT too. So I am loving that, and I'm looking forward to seeing who they're going to face at WrestleMania. There's a lot of folks right now talking Trish and Lita teaming up to face them. Obviously, I think Bayley and Sasha would win that match, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens, but I'm very interested in that storyline to see who they're going to defend those titles against at WrestleMania. And obviously, names like Trish and Lita, that would make that match just draw so much more. So congrats to Bayley and Sasha. First ever WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. That's the match I was most excited at seeing. I was a little disappointed it went on first. I was hoping maybe it'd go on last, but it was a good match, though. I loved it. Jimmy and Jey Uso, they are the new WWE SmackDown Tag Team Champions after defeating Shane McMahon and The Miz. And, boy, The Miz, he didn't take that win or that loss very lightly, that's for sure. Finn Balor became the new Intercontinental Champion, and what in my opinion was kind of the shocker of the night. I fully expected Bobby Lashley to retain and maybe keep that feud going into WrestleMania, but Finn Balor pinned Lio Rush, and now Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush, at first it seemed like they wanted to split them apart. But then again, I think they teamed it together in a six-man tag on Monday Night on Raw, so I don't know what they're doing with that. But Finn Balor, your new Intercontinental Champion. Ronda Rousey defeated Ruby Riott in an astonishing 1 minute and 41 seconds. Baron Corbin actually defeated Braun Strowman with the help of Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley. And then Daniel Bryan retains his WWE Championship inside the Elimination Chamber after getting the final pin on Kofi Kingston. Speaking of Kofi Kingston, big-time push lately for Kofi Kingston. Mustafa Ali was supposed to be in this feud for the WWE Championship. Mustafa Ali was supposed to be in the Elimination Chamber match, and then, of course, he gets hurt, and he's replaced by Kofi Kingston, somebody who is already beloved by the WWE, universe. Remember the New Day now? The New Day's been around for, 7 years now? It's crazy to think that they've been around for that long. But the New Day's been around. I think they debuted, 2012? If I don't know, maybe somebody that's watching live can maybe correct me if I'm wrong. Sometime in 2012, the New Day debuted as a trio, as a faction, and since then they've never broken up. They've pretty much, they've gone from heel and face back and forth a little bit, but certainly, consistency. They've been at the top of the tag team division throughout those 7 years. So, and Kofi Kingston, of course, we all know Kofi Kingston as Mr. Royal Rumble. He's had the greatest Royal Rumble, I guess, saves from elimination that you've ever seen. So, Kofi Kingston has just, he's been around for a long time. He's been Intercontinental Champion. He's never been WWE Champion, but now he will get his opportunity because he will go one-on-one with Daniel Bryan at Fastlane for the WWE Championship. And a lot of folks are pushing for Kofi Kingston to win that WWE Championship and go on to WrestleMania and face it against, whoever, because right now, Kofi Kingston took Mustafa Ali's, basically just picked up the storyline where Mustafa Ali left it when he got hurt. And Kofi Kingston, obviously is more over than Mustafa Ali is because Kofi Kingston is, much more well-known with the WWE Universe. So obviously, you're going to have Kofi Kingston. The fans are obviously going to, root for him, and why wouldn't you root for Kofi? Which is the interesting thing about, Kofi getting this push now, because there was always these talks about Big E getting this singles push, and there are rumors now that Big E will cost Kofi the WWE Championship at Fastlane, and honestly, at this point, I would not be surprised, because, as I said, the New Day has been together since 2012. Another faction, big-time three-man faction debuted in 2012, and they've already broken up twice, pretty much. So, and the fact that, and I'm talking about the Shield, of course, for those of you who couldn't catch it, the New Day consistently been together on the same page for 7 years, and at some point, these factions always come to an end some way, somehow, and it's never happened for the New Day. They've been as consistent can be as far as them sticking together throughout their tenure in WWE. So, would not be surprised to see a Big E possible heel turn. I mean, that's crazy to think, but, Big E turning on Kofi Kingston is certainly a possibility. Let's see, Casey Jones just sent me a message. I'm commenting on YouTube. Let me double check, Casey, and make sure I got this. I see now. For some reason, I looked at it earlier, and the chat was, there we go. All right. I got you on there now, Casey. We are good to go. So, all right, Casey. Yo, thanks for coming in, though. Let's see. You had Sonya Mandy. I'm just trying to go back on the chat here. You called the Usos and Finn. You did call that. About 5 years. They debuted July 21st. Okay, 2014. Okay, so there you go. Well, thanks for giving me the heads up, Casey, for sending me a message on Facebook that you were in the live chat. But that was their initial debut, made their actual TV debut in November of 2014. Okay, I got you. So, but yeah, the New Day, still, regardless, when they made their debut, they have been together. They've never broken up. No heel turns. I mean, they, as a group, have turned heel and turned face back and forth a couple of times in that tenure. But now you're going to have, someone turning within the group, possibly at Fastlane. So it would be very interesting. I would love to see, I would personally love to see that. But it would be so weird because, you just have become accustomed to seeing the New Day as a team to work together, never really have any animosity towards one another. So it'll certainly be interesting. And Kofi versus Big E at WrestleMania, I'm in on that. I can get behind that, certainly, because you obviously have a story there. You've been part of this faction together that you've broken a record. You've won the tag team titles 5 times. You're the longest reigning tag team champions ever. You've done all this stuff together, and boom, the story just writes itself right there. So, and Big E could play the card. Hey, look, I felt like I deserved that singles push, and for some, you got it, or I don't know, because apparently the New Day has been pushing for Kofi themselves to get this push. So I don't even know how they're going to play that. So we'll we'll see what happens at Fastlane. It's Kofi Kingston, Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship at Fastlane on March the 10th. Speaking of, okay, let's see what Casey has to say. I think we either see Bray return with Harper and we get Bryan with Rowan versus Bray with Harper, or Bryan versus Kofi. If Kofi loses, New Day breaks up, and that's when you turn Big E heel. Yeah, so you thinking we're either going to see Bray return at Fastlane setting up the match with Bryan, or you're going to see New Day, if Kofi loses, they'll break up, and that's when you turn Big E heel. So that, that does make sense too. Maybe not necessarily have him cost Kofi the match, but if Kofi loses, maybe he accidentally cost him the match, not necessarily on purpose. So that'll be something interesting to see. I'm really looking forward to Fastlane, to seeing how they go that angle. Obviously, it is WrestleMania season, so you don't want to count anything out. So speaking of pushes, we had some call-ups this week earlier. NXT, 4 guys, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, also, I'm trying to remember now, I can't remember, Aleister Black, and who was the 4th one? Ricochet. I don't know how I could remember Ricochet. He's my favorite one. They all 4 made their WWE Raw and SmackDown debuts earlier this week and actually swept the competition. Gargano and Ciampa teamed up, of course, they're DIY, reunited. So they've teamed up. They swept Ricochet and Aleister Black. They all swept their matches on Raw and SmackDown. So they're all undefeated on the main roster so far. And, there was a lot of talk on Monday night about the crowd over in Lafayette. So I feel like I should talk about that, obviously, here for a little bit because it's an hour down the road from where we broadcast from. And that same night, we weren't even watching Raw. We were at a house show here in Lake Charles, which we may have seen Ty Dillinger's last match in that night in WWE. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. But certainly, during the live event, during live events, there's intermissions. And during the intermission, I got on my phone. Let's see. I'll get to your question. Casey asked, do you think they're up for good, or are we just getting them for a short term? I do have a thought on that, Casey. I will get to that in just a second. But the crowd Monday night, I don't know what to say about the crowd Monday night. I've heard some people say, obviously I knew a couple of people that went. They had a couple people said, from inside the arena it seemed loud, but maybe on TV, obviously they can control the volume of the crowd. And I don't know if they were just, they had the mic down on them or what. I don't know. But it did seem dead on TV. But then again, WWE can make it seem that way, even if it's not, honestly. So I don't know what was with the crowd. I really don't. So I cannot put my finger on it. Crowd was a little bit better on SmackDown. Actually, it was a lot better on SmackDown. So, but it's New Orleans versus a Lafayette. I mean, Lafayette's not your major metropolitan of where you're going to get all sorts of wrestling fans. Obviously, there's some wrestling fans in the Lafayette area, but in New Orleans, I think you have a lot more of the hardcore wrestling fans. Obviously, you host WrestleMania in New Orleans. You don't host WrestleMania in a Lafayette. So that may have been something. A lot of families there, a lot of casual, fans who maybe watch Raw and SmackDown exclusively, have no clue about NXT or any of the guys on NXT. And you got these 4 NXT guys that show up, and you just don't know what to think of them. So I don't know. But certainly I think WWE will be back to Lafayette. A lot of folks are calling to say, all right, don't go back to Lafayette, but I think they'll be back in Lafayette. Now, as far as what you asked, do I think they're up for good? I do not. I do not think they're up for good. I think we're getting them short term. They still have business to take care of, in my opinion, because obviously, Gargano just lost the NXT North American title on Wednesday night to Velveteen Dream, so Gargano no longer has a championship. Tommaso Ciampa, on the other end, he is still the NXT champion, so he obviously still has some business to tend to in NXT as far as defending that title. And Ricochet, he's been there for a little bit. I think he could still become NXT champion, so I think he still has some business to finish there as well. Yeah, exactly. You can't deplete the NXT's roster too much. That's 4 of your top 6 guys right there, with Cole, Adam Cole, Bebe, and Velveteen Dream being the other 2, in my opinion, right now. That's your 6 guys. You already took, EC3, which, in my opinion, they pulled the trigger on him way too soon. They gave him no time to develop. He didn't even win a championship. I think in NXT, now that you have the North American Championship, you should at least have one title run. Whether you're the tag team, get the tag team titles. Even if it's a short title run, just you got to build them up to where if you feel comfortable giving them titles in NXT, then okay, boom, we can move you over to the main roster. But EC3, I don't know. They wanted to shake things up after TLC, and then you pull Lacey Evans out. Who Lacey Evans? I don't even think she's done a lot in NXT either. She's never won a championship. And as much as I like Lacey Evans, I don't know. I think they're pulling the trigger too quickly on some of these people, and that may have been the issue as to why. I don't know, man. That might be part of the issue as to why some of these NXT people don't work out on the main roster. Like EC3, he came out and he spoke in Lake Charles. He came out and cut an actual promo. And I'm not going to lie, other than the fact that, he mentioned Lake Charles as Lafayette first, and then Baton Rouge, he didn't remember the name. That was kind of the only good part of his promo. Other than that, it was just boring. It was, I don't know, it just didn't, it did nothing for me. So he worked the SmackDown house show on Monday night. That's why he wasn't on Raw Monday. Of course, we saw Lacey Evans. We saw Heavy Machinery. I have a feeling they're going to put EC3 on SmackDown. So I don't know what they're trying to do with EC3. They pulled the trigger way too quickly on him. I feel like he had so much potential, and I think they already ruined it. I think even Dave Meltzer or somebody basically said he was DOA, which means dead on arrival. So EC3, man, it sucks because I was personally excited about EC3 coming to the main roster, and I feel like it's already going to become a huge letdown. Apparently, she's going to be a major star going forward. Might be facing Asuka at WrestleMania from what I'm hearing. So, Casey, yeah, that's what I'm hearing too. Possibly Lacey Evans versus Asuka at WrestleMania. And in my opinion, if Lacey Evans can have a good showing in that match at WrestleMania, you have the wrestling world's eyes on you right there. If there's ever a time that you can put on a good showing, it's at WrestleMania. Maybe that's her first match, because sometimes, obviously, people that they're really high on, they'll have, Fandango had his first match at WrestleMania and beat Chris Jericho. So Lacey Evans, although Fandango didn't turn out probably what they hope Lacey Evans turns into, but, have Lacey Evans' first match. But then again, she came out on SmackDown. I said we saw her on Raw. I don't remember if she was on Raw or not because I didn't get a chance to watch. But, yeah, put on exactly, Casey. A lot of folks these days think, if you're losing, you get buried. That's not the case. You can lose and still look good. And Lacey Evans, in my opinion, they can have her look really good against Asuka. There's no shame in losing to Asuka because Asuka just made Becky Lynch tap out, by the way. The man who's supposed to be in the main event at WrestleMania, which she will be, don't worry. But she is suspended as I pull up the air quotes here. So Asuka, is still kind of running roughshod on SmackDown right now. So to have Lacey Evans come in on her first match and put on a good showing, especially at WrestleMania against an Asuka, could do a lot for Lacey Evans. So, but as far as those 4 NXT guys that showed up on Monday night, I don't think this is not their official call-ups. I think they're going to just come in, kind of get a spotlight, which honestly, I don't think it's a bad thing. They could have chosen a better city to do it in than Lafayette. Maybe, New Orleans would have been a good place to do it, but Lafayette, I don't know. Certainly, you just want to kind of get them fresh in people's minds, which is, I think, what they're doing with Lacey Evans. That's why she's just coming out and going back to the, she's basically walking out, waving to the crowd, and then walking back and not doing anything or saying anything. They're just trying to keep these guys, and Lacey Evans, of course, fresh in fans' minds. So, I don't know. But I don't think we're going to get those 4 guys on the main roster full-time right now. Maybe after Mania. Maybe we see them this week but I think we may see them after Mania. I think, Gargano's ready. I think I don't know if Ciampa's ready yet. But I think Ciampa's ready, but I just don't know what the fans would. I don't know how the fans. I think if you take Gargano and Ciampa to the main roster, they have to be a tag team. That's just my. At first, they can have their, let them be over as a tag team, and then when they split again, because they're going to do it again, they'll split again. But then again, I could have sworn I saw, and I don't want to give any spoilers, but maybe that has already happened in an NXT taping. I can't confirm that, but certainly if you have them come to the roster, I would love to have them come to the roster as a tag team, DIY. Let's, give the main roster some DIY flavor, and then, have them turn on each other again. That's what I think, but who knows? They don't ask me. So, and then, of course, you have Ricochet. Ricochet is going to be a star. There's no doubt about that. And then you have Aleister Black. If you play him right, he's going to be a star as well. He's got the look. He's got the theme. He's got the ability. Aleister Black and Ricochet could be two of your, superstars from NXT. I mean, you got guys that have been superstars from NXT like Seth Rollins. You got everybody pretty much in the Shield. You have, let's see, who else has pretty much become practically a superstar from NXT. I find Finn Balor is becoming a superstar. I think he was, in my opinion, he was already there. And then, I don't know who else. Shinsuke, I think they kind of ruined Shinsuke a little bit. Who else? Daniel Bryan wasn't on there. AJ wasn't on there. But, you got a few guys that have really turned into superstars. And I think Aleister and Ricochet could be those two next guys. And I think Gargano could be that guy too. Ciampa, I think he can, but I don't know. There's something about Ciampa. I love Ciampa, don't get me wrong, but I feel like Ciampa is his character. I just don't know how well it would go over with the main roster fans, because we all know, obviously, it's just different on the main roster. Aleister Black versus Demon Finn Balor at WrestleMania 36 would be an amazing match. That would, oh my Lord. Book that, Vince. WrestleMania 36, which I don't know where that's going to be at yet, but man, WrestleMania 36. Give me Aleister Black and Demon Finn Balor. All right. So we talked about the NXT call-ups. Let's talk about, ironically enough, you got 4 guys that, come up, I guess, or show up on Raw, and then now WWE's got rid of 4 guys. And let's talk about some of these guys they've gotten rid of. First of all, I think the first one that I saw that wasn't even an actual superstar, they let go of Arn Anderson, obviously, who plays a big role backstage. Let go of Arn Anderson. The next thing you know, Ty Dillinger requested a release. He gets released. Then Hideo Itami, who requested a release, I think a couple of weeks ago, he gets released. And then TJP, who I don't even think requested a release, gets released because apparently, he shows up with all these tattoos and he's going through what people think is a midlife crisis and with a completely different look. And apparently, if you get all these tattoos, without, obviously you're on TV a lot and you get all these tattoos with, tell nobody, that might, ring an alarm or a red flag or something. So they let go of TJP. I was talking with Casey, earlier. It's like, after TJP got let go, I was taking wagers, who are they going to let go of next? And right now, my money's on Mojo Rawley. I don't know what they're doing with Mojo Rawley, but it ain't good either. So Mojo Rawley, odds-on favorite to get released next. Let's see, Casey. I'm not sure you spoke on it, but did you hear about Bruce Pritchard? Apparently, he's head of WWE Creative again. I did not hear about that, Casey. I did not see or read anything about that. But if Bruce Pritchard is the head of WWE Creative, now, when you say head of WWE Creative, I mean, does that mean he gets the final say? Does he override whatever Vince is going to say? I mean, I have a hard time believing anybody's going to override what Vince would say. But certainly Bruce Pritchard, I don't know, that's certainly interesting, Bruce Pritchard, to have him as a head of WWE Creative. Who was originally, did he take someone's spot? Who was, Casey, if you know who was the head of WWE Creative, I guess, or who had that role before Bruce Pritchard, or has he been the head of Creative? Apparently, from what you're telling me, you actually just sent me a link here on Facebook, so let me go ahead and open this here real quick. So, Casey, thanks for according to WrestlingInc.com, thanks to Casey Jones there of Pro Wrestling Roundabout, also 337 Entertainment. Go give them a follow on Twitter and Twitch, 337 Entertainment. So, Casey, I got to give you a shout out there. And also Pro Wrestling Roundabout official there. He's in the chat under Pro Wrestling Roundabout, so y'all can just go click on his profile right there. So Bruce Pritchard is returning to WWE full-time to work in a top position with the creative team, according to PW Insider. This was February 23rd. This was posted today by Josh Gagnon of WrestlingInc.com. Let's see. Pritchard will begin at this Monday's Raw in Atlanta, Georgia, and will be working directly with Vince McMahon, much like he did during his previous run with the company. The repo stated his position was described as important as possible, and he'll be one of the top people on creative team going forward. Pritchard first began with WWE back in 1987, working occasionally as an announcer, then as an on-screen character. Brother Love. After his release in 91, Pritchard will return in 92 and become one of Vince's right-hand mans until leaving in 2008. So apparently Pritchard is back as one of the top creative guys in WWE, or at least, I don't know, if Monday Night Raw. Apparently he's going to start Monday night when they're in Atlanta, and there's a stacked Atlanta show. So Monday night is going to be a very interesting night. I tell you what, it's going to be something special. But let's go back now to the releases. You have, obviously, we talked about Arn Anderson has been released. Maybe Pritchard was taking Arn Anderson's place. Maybe Arn Anderson was one of the top creative guys there. Who knows? TJP, Ty Dillinger, whose 90-day clause will be up on May 23rd, 2 days before Double or Nothing. So I would love to see Ty Dillinger at Double or Nothing. That'll be interesting. Something interesting to watch for at Double or Nothing coming up May 25th. But then you also have TJP, Ty Dillinger, and who's the other one? Arn Anderson. Who was the other one? I can't think of it all of a sudden. Oh, Hideo Itami. So Hideo Itami, all released by WWE. Let's move on now to our next topic, which is Honor Rising. Honor Rising, Ring of Honor, New Japan. Ring of Honor, New Japan, Honor Rising happened over the last 2 days. Let's go back to Friday's show. Let's see. Marty Scurll defeated Ren Narita. Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Shota Umino, I believe. Jushin Thunder Liger and Jonathan Gresham defeated Robbie Eagles and Taiji Ishimori. 8-man tag action here. The team of Toa Henare, Tomoaki Hanma, David Finlay, and Juice Robinson defeated Tangaloa, Tama Tonga, Mark Briscoe, and Jay Briscoe. Juice getting the pin over Mark Briscoe there. And their openweight 6-man tag team championships were on the line as Taguchi, Yano, and Maccabee successfully defended against Cheeseburger, Delirious, and Colt Cabana. Toru Yano getting the pinfall over Delirious. And then the Never Openweight Championship was defended by Will Ospreay, his first defense, and he defeated Dalton Castle. That was a good match. Jeff Cobb, another guy I love outside of Ospreay. Ospreay's my new favorite guy in New Japan since Kenny went to AEW. But my second favorite guy over between New Japan and Ring of Honor, I think, has got to be Jeff Cobb. I love me some Jeff Cobb. The Ring of Honor World Television Championship on the line. He retains against Hiroki Goto. And then looks like the main event from night one. Well, they don't have the they actually don't have the winner here. They do not have they do not list the winner. It's Jay Lethal, Kazuchika Okada, and Tanahashi versus Matt Taven, TK O'Ryan, and Vinny Marsaglia. I guess they have the match time, the lethal injection. I guess so. I guess it's Jay Lethal's finisher. So I'm guessing Lethal, Okada, and Tanahashi won that match, which would not surprise me in that. So that was night one of Honor Rising. As we scroll over now to night number 2, let's take a look at night number 2. The first match was a tag team match. You had Jonathan Gresham and Toa Henare defeating Takamichi Inoku and Zack Sabre Jr. The next match, Marty Scurll defeats Robbie Eagles. And then next match, tag team match, Colt Cabana and Toru Yano. They were opposing. They were on two different sides of the ring the night before, and now they're teaming up. They defeat Cheeseburger and Delirious. Fourth match, once again, Will Ospreay teaming up with Hiroki Goto, taking on Dalton Castle and Jeff Cobb. Ospreay and Goto getting the victory there. Tetsuya Naito and Shingo Tagaki taking on Vinny Marsaglia. I guess, I don't know. I may or may not be saying that right. And Matt Taven, but Naito and Tagaki getting the win there. Ring of Honor World Championship match. Jay Lethal retains against TK O'Ryan. And then the IWGP Tag Team Championship match. Sonata and Evil, their second defense since winning it, but they lose it. Tama Tonga and Tangaloa are your new IWGP Tag Team Champions. And then the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship match. We got new champions. The Briscoe brothers defeat David Finlay and Juice Rob. Oh, I'm sorry, they retain, actually. The way it was lined up, it actually it looked like they were the new champions, but they retained, the Briscoe brothers did, against David Finlay and Juice Robinson. So a couple of big nights there. I know Cruz was all in on that, but unfortunately, I guess Cruz might be sleeping right now. I was going to get Cruz in here to get his thoughts in on Honor Rising, but a couple of thoughts he had, though, that he did tell me earlier this morning in our group chat. Let's see, what did he say? Let me go back and I'm going to pull that up real quick. Just a couple of comments Cruz had as I get ready to pull up our group chat here any second. But yeah, Honor Rising over 2 nights took place the last couple of days, and for some reason the chat's taking a hot minute to get on up here. Any other time it wouldn't. It'll come up in the blink of an eye. So waiting for that to pop up. Hopefully it'll pop up today. I don't know. I don't know why it didn't take long to get to the. This is really kind of annoying almost that it just won't go to it. It goes to anything else, and the one time I want to go use Messenger, it's going to be slow. All right, well, I can't exactly remember what Cruz said about the show, but if I can, I don't know, hopefully I can pull it up here at some point. So, but I'll move on, and maybe we can dive back into it. Hold on, let me try something. One more thing here. We're going to try one more thing. This should work. And this did work. Okay, so, all right, let's see. So, he said, I'd watch Berger and Delirious versus Yano and Colt Cabana all day. He said it's special, and basically just quoting some stuff from the match that I can't repeat on here, but apparently that match was comedy gold. Jonathan Gresham versus Zack Sabre Jr., I'll watch that for 3 days, he said. So so those are the 2 matches. It looks like Cruz kind of really stood out, so to speak, from for Cruz. So, and he also said Holy Ospreay just hit Stormbreaker on Cobb. So apparently, I bet that looked nice. I bet that looked real nice. Those are 2 guys I'd love to see go one-on-one, Cobb and Ospreay. So just a couple of, I guess, comments there from Cruz Smith as he was tuned in to Honor Rising earlier this morning. So, of course, anybody who has New Japan World can go back and watch that. Let's move on now to the next thing. Ric Flair's birthday party. This was a kind of a viral video. Apparently, Triple H threw a surprise party for Ric Flair. And Ric Flair walks in. I watched the video, and it was almost a who's who, somewhat in the wrestling business that was there. And they had some other random celebrities there as well. But as far as the wrestlers that were there, he walked in. I seen, Triple H was there. You had Ricky Steamboat was there. Greg the Hammer Valentine. No, not Greg Valentine. It was Michael Hayes. I think it was Michael Hayes was there. You also had Chris Jericho apparently was there. Shane McMahon was there. I'm trying to think who else was there. AJ Styles was there. I ironically saw a photo. Somebody was joking how Shane McMahon, they took a photo and Shane was standing in between AJ and Chris Jericho. And they thought that was highly ironic. But a really cool video if you can find it. I don't know, we may or may not have shared it to our Facebook pages, but a really cool video, really cool stuff. Charles Barkley was there as well, some non-wrestlers. Charles Barkley. Who else was there? I'm trying to remember some of the people that were there, but I just remember some of the wrestlers that I saw in the video. So really cool stuff, though. Go watch that video if you haven't done so yet. As of course, tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw, Ric Flair, they'll have his 70th birthday celebration in Atlanta. So that's going to be, I think that's going to be a really fun segment. I think they're going to probably bring maybe some, Triple H is going to come out. Hey, maybe we'll have a return of Batista. Who knows? So that's going to be real fun to check out that birthday celebration for Ric Flair on Monday Night Raw. Who knows when that'll happen? That may happen early. That may happen late. Who knows? I think that's something that could happen late because, Ric Flair, he likes to stay out and party late, old Nature Boy Ric Flair, giving them girls rides on Space Mountain, huh? The Nature Boy. Nobody like him, and there will never be anybody like the Nature Boy. So they're celebrating his 70th birthday tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw. Now let's go to look ahead a little bit to the Hall of Fame weekend, or WrestleMania weekend, Hall of Fame induction ceremony, which will take place on Friday night this year. Or actually, no, it'll take place on Saturday night. Saturday night is when they're going to have the Hall of Fame, and NXT TakeOver will happen on Friday night. So the first inductees to the 2019 Hall of Fame class, none other than D-Generation X. Of course, that consists of Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Billy Gunn, X-Pac, Road Dogg, and of course, they had no choice but to include Chyna in this group. So Chyna will officially be a member of the WWE Hall of Fame as a member of D-Generation X. So that's really cool. Shawn Michaels will also become the second two-time WWE Hall of Famer, I think. Ric Flair's the only other one as far as I know. There may be others, but I cannot remember. But Shawn Michaels will be a two-time Hall of Famer. Triple H will get into the Hall of Fame, it looks like. Of course, we know Triple H is going to go in again. I think Chyna should go in again as well. If there's any woman who deserves to be in there twice, in my opinion, it's Chyna. I mean, she just took women's wrestling, in my opinion, to a whole nother level. So, real interesting stuff there as DX announced as the first ever, not the first ever, but the first inductee to the 2019 Hall of Fame. So, love me some DX. DX was always one of those. I mean, you just loved it, DX, whether it was Triple H and Shawn Michaels, or after Shawn Michaels got hurt and temporarily retired, you had Road Dogg. You had, of course, Chyna was there for pretty much all of it until, of course, Stephanie came around. And then you had the Road Dogg, you had Billy Gunn, you had X-Pac. And then, of course, some people joking around, talking about, some of the honorary members they had, like Mike Tyson, Hornswoggle. I think Great Khali was an honorary member one time as well. Of course, you remember that one time they came out on Monday Night Raw and everybody wanted to be, it was like the one night only thing, and like everyone was coming out. And even the Boogeyman came out and was like, I want to, and, it came out to his Boogeyman shtick, and, it came out to be a member of DX. So as far as I'm concerned, the Boogeyman should go in as well. He's an honorary member of D-Generation X. I wonder if they would do that if they ever inducted the NWO. Like everybody that was ever a member of the NWO at some point, whether it was in WWE or WCW, everybody's in. So that'd be a very, very large group. Might be the biggest faction ever inducted into any Hall of Fame ever in the history of wrestling. So yeah, D-Generation X, first inductee members into the 2019 Hall of Fame. There was rumors that The Rock was going to be, that's why they moved it to Saturday night, because obviously you're going to get a huge name, and what bigger name can you get right now than The Rock? Maybe an Owen Hart would be another huge name, but obviously Owen no longer with us, but The Rock would be a huge name to get inducted into the Hall of Fame this year, and it's still possible. I mean, The Rock and DX in the same Hall of Fame class, I could see that happening, because The Rock would be an individual. The DX is a group, The Rock is an individual, so The Rock could be like the top individual inductee, whereas DX could be the top, faction inductee into the Hall of Fame. So tell you what, looking forward to the Hall of Fame too. If DX is going to be there, that should definitely be fun. All right, well, I've somewhat run out of topics to I guess talk about here. I'm only about 43 minutes in. I'm about 17 minutes short here, so I'm not even exactly sure what to do here. Let me look through and see if there's anything else. Of course, I can remind you guys, go follow us on Twitter. Go follow us on Twitch. Follow us on Periscope, which is where we're broadcasting live from Periscope, YouTube, Twitch, all today. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Really appreciate it. And if you feel like donating, of course, our link is at the top of the stream. You can see right here for anybody watching. Donate at www.streamlabs.com/averagemarks. Any donation is appreciated, whether it's 25 cents, $25, or $25,000. I personally prefer $25,000, but maybe I'm just a little biased. So be sure, if you love what you see, if you like our content, go donate. It can only it'll only make our platform that much better. Be able to get more resources, make all of our stuff more accessible to you. So let me see here. I'm looking at some notes from the Wrestling Observer. This is what Dave Meltzer says. Dave suggests Ronda's goal from the beginning with WWE was to elevate women to the possibility of headlining pay-per-view cards like she did with UFC. This is what it says. Rousey's ultimate goal for pro wrestling is to accomplish what she did in UFC. She got women into UFC and was so successful as a draw that women's divisions became a part basically of the sport that will continue and even headline shows long after she's gone. Obviously, in wrestling, women have been around for a century, but her being there put far more focus on them, got them longer matches, the ability to main event house shows, and even WrestleMania. And the goal is to establish women as a bigger stars than the men, so that this will continue to be the case long after she's gone. And I mean, hey, look, that I'm all for the women, main eventing. I'm glad they were able to pull in someone like Ronda Rousey to be able to focus in on that. And now, when you have Becky go over on Ronda, which they should, in my opinion, I've been saying it, you need to have Becky go over on Ronda, especially now that you inserted Charlotte Flair into this match at WrestleMania. But I do agree, some folks will say Charlotte deserves to be in this main event because she has been just as much of a part as this women's revolution as anyone else. So I do believe Charlotte deserves this spot, but as long as right now Becky Lynch goes over on Ronda Rousey, you gotta, in my opinion, you have Becky. You don't have to have, you don't have to have Ronda tap out, but have Becky go over on her, pin her 1, 2, 3 like that, and then maybe Ronda takes some time off like we're expecting. But of course, I don't know if we're expecting that anymore or not. Those rumors kind of went away real quick, I find. But certainly, having Becky go over, and even if Ronda leaves, you have Becky. Becky has now become this superstar. Becky is, in my opinion, almost just as much a reason that the women are going to main event as Ronda Rousey. Granted, without Ronda, I don't think they're going to main event. But I think having Becky go over on Ronda, now you send Becky Lynch into this new stratosphere, I believe. So Becky Lynch going over on Ronda. Now you have Becky Lynch, who can be your face of the women's division going forward, and now you can have Becky do all these matches with, all these up-and-comings, like a Ruby Riott, like a Lacey Evans, stuff like that. So I'm interested to see, how, they obviously, I believe Becky's going to go over at WrestleMania. Hopefully they have her go over on Ronda, and I think that'll help WWE out in the long run, because Ronda's Ronda. Ronda's always going to draw, like Brock Lesnar. Brock's always going to draw some way, somehow. I think Ronda these days might even draw a little more than Brock Lesnar. But as far as WWE fans, because at least Ronda shows up, defends the belt, and all that stuff. So, have Ronda. The fact that you have Ronda week in and week out showing up is actually a good thing. So versus Brock, who shows up, whenever he wants, obviously. And I also think Seth's going to go over on Brock, too. He needs to. I don't see why you keep that title on Brock. I really, really don't. I mean, you want to give the fans what they want? Give the title to Seth. Seth has not held that Universal title yet. So I think it's time. I've been saying he's been the most consistent thing for WWE in the past year, consistently good at that. So, in my opinion, you have Seth Rollins certainly go over on Brock Lesnar. All right. I'm trying to, kill as much time as I can here. It's one of those things, I've never done the show solo before. Always got Mikey O here. Mikey O, sometimes I let Mikey O talk, I guess, but, Mikey O's usually able to fill up a good bit of time with me, so it helps me out too. So, but of course, Mikey O couldn't be on the show today. He's feeling a little bit under the weather. I was actually fighting something. See, look, as soon as I said it, I did not cough the entire time of the stream. The second I say I was fighting something, I was going to say I was fighting a little cold, as those of you may or may not have been able to tell, but literally as soon as I said it, I coughed. So, I've been fighting a little something this week too, and it's still lingering, as you just heard, but I was able to kind of get control of it, I guess, earlier in the week, whereas Mikey O just started feeling bad yesterday. So, Mikey O, get better soon, so that way we have you fresh and ready to go next week. But Monday night, again, for anybody who maybe didn't catch it the first time, we're going to be live streaming on our YouTube, Twitch, and Periscopes Monday night for Roman Reigns' return to Monday Night Raw, as he's going to return to give us an update on his battle with leukemia. So we're going to live stream that. If it doesn't happen in the opening segment of Raw, which I expect it to, if it doesn't, we're just going to live stream until it happens. And I don't think it's going to be going on last. I think that's something they're hyping up. They're going to start off the show with it. I think Ric Flair's birthday is going to go last because they want to end the, you're going to end the night unless if Roman Reigns says, I'm back now, he may not show up to the end of the show. I don't know. So, but I don't expect that to happen. I don't think Roman Reigns is ready to come back just yet, but I think he's very, very close. Otherwise, they would not have him come out on Monday Night Raw. Speaking of that, actually, there's something I did want to cover about Roman Reigns. Recently there was a picture posted on someone's Instagram. Apparently, Roman Reigns was training somewhere, and let's see if I can find this picture. It was a picture on Instagram, but somebody that was, I guess, helped training Roman Reigns, or he worked at this gym Roman was training at, and he put in the description that that they were basically helping Roman Reigns for his in-ring return. Of course, we know he's going to be back in the ring. We just don't know when. So to me, some people may have overreacted on that, thinking, oh, maybe he's going to be back like ASAP. No, we know he's coming back. Once he's better, whenever that may be, he will be back. So we know he's going to have an in-ring return. We just don't know when. And I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. I think maybe at very earliest right now, in my opinion, WrestleMania. Very earliest. But even then, I'm still a little skeptical because, I've heard a lot of people say, when you go through leukemia like that, even after you're done with all of the, treatment and stuff, it kind of takes a little toll on you. So you kind of have to recover from it after it's done. So like I said, I don't know. I've heard his treatment was going well, but I don't know how well it was going. So all we know is that it was going well. That's what the reports were saying. So I don't know. Hopefully we get some good news on Monday night. I think we will get some good news in some sort, because I don't think they're going to send him out there to give some bad news, honestly. So Roman Reigns will be back on Monday night. You also have, let's see, I guess I can kind of preview Raw and SmackDown here. Let me pull up a little Raw and SmackDown preview if I can find them. I don't know if they have it up yet for Monday and Tuesday yet. So let's see, Raw preview for 2/25/19, I believe. Yep, 2/25/19. Let's see, WWE Raw. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, so Raw preview February 20th. Roman Reigns returns with an update for the WWE Universe. Birthday celebration with the Nature Boy. Also, NXT Superstars on the Rise this past Monday night. They scored big wins and they all maintained. How will these 4 newcomers dazzle the universe this week? So apparently the NXT guys will be there on Monday night. Something about Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose has made it clear multiple times how he feels about Seth Rollins since he turned the Shield's back in October, but the self-proclaimed moral compass of WWE was oddly surprised when the Kingslayer, who's battled Ambrose tooth and nail since the Shield's destruction, didn't back him up in his match against Drew McIntyre. Does Dean Ambrose truly believe that Rollins would put the past behind him, or is there another strategy in play? And who will the Boston Hugs' first challenge be? Let's see. As the bearers of the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship, Sasha Banks and Bayley have vowed to defend their titles against anyone on any brand. One night after historically winning the tandem prizes at Elimination Chamber, Nia Jax and Tamina confronted the champions, but the Boston Huggable One repelled the attack, refusing to let their celebration be spoiled. Had Jax and Tamina not retreated, we might have seen a WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match right then and there. But given their take-all challengers' attitudes, will Sasha and Bayley's first title defense happen sooner than later? So are they pretty much saying possibly maybe they come out and issue an open challenge? I don't know. So some things to look out for on Monday Night Raw this coming Monday. So you got Reigns, you got Ric Flair's birthday celebration. The NXT call-ups will be there. Let me see if I can pull up the SmackDown preview. I don't know if they have one out just yet for SmackDown. Let's see. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. SmackDown Live. Nope, they don't. They don't have a. Or maybe they do. SmackDown preview. No, they don't have one up yet on WWE.com. So I guess I can't really preview SmackDown right now. But certainly on the SmackDown side, you have Kofi and Bryan for Fastlane for the WWE Championship. Certainly they'll be going forward on that. So yeah, SmackDown Tuesday night, Raw tomorrow night. Raw tomorrow night should be really, really fun, I think. I'm hoping it's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to Monday Night Raw tomorrow night. So let's see here. I am about still 5 minutes short here. You would think a guy like me who likes to talk can, fill up an hour, and I'm doing my best to. I wrote down a rundown, and basically this was my rundown. Roman Reigns returns to Raw on Monday. Elimination Chamber review, Kofi Kingston's push, NXT call-ups, WWE releases, Honor Rising, Ric Flair's birthday party, and DX to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Usually when Mikey O's with me, that's a full show right there. But unfortunately, Mikey O, he likes to talk too. And I guess when I allow him to talk, I'm just joking. He fills up a lot of time too, so it's very easy to get through 1 hour. But solo for me, it's especially without commercials, just rolling straight like that. I tell you what, it's not very easy. So do want to give a special shout out to Casey Jones one more time from Pro Wrestling Roundabout. Be sure to go follow them on their social medias. Also his Twitch account, 337 Entertainment. He's doing a lot of wrestling stuff on there as well. Some fun stuff on his Twitch account. He was in the chat earlier today talking broke us the news that Bruce Pritchard is now one of the top creative guys apparently in WWE, maybe Vince's new right-hand man for the first time since 2008. We read that article from Wrestling Inc. earlier. So certainly Bruce Pritchard on Monday Night Raw, with everything else that's happening on Monday Night Raw on Monday, I think will maybe make Raw's already a must-watch since Roman Reigns is coming back. So tomorrow night, Monday Night Raw, I'm excited. I can't wait. We're going to be live streaming from our Average Marks YouTube, Twitch, and Periscopes. At least we're going to do Roman Reigns' announcement. I don't know. If I'm feeling good, maybe we'll stick around, or maybe I'll come back and do Ric Flair's birthday party live reaction as well. So we're going to see. I'm going to talk to Mikey O about it on Monday, and we're going to figure that out. But once again, go follow us on Facebook, or go like us on Facebook at The Average Marks. Follow us on Twitter at The Average Marks. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitch. Follow us on Periscope as well. Or you can find our episodes on CastBox. And, of course, thanks to all the listeners on KEZM in Sulphur, Louisiana for listening as well on our radio affiliate there in Sulphur. So we thank the management over there once again for allowing us to broadcast on there, which is why we got to fill up an hour. So I got to make sure we fill up a full hour over on KEZM, but I'm getting ready to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and get ready to finish wrapping this up. Once again, thanks to Casey Jones for participating in the chat. Mikey O, get better soon. We should see him back here next week on The Average Marks, episode number 65. I personally can't wait for episode 69. I tell you what. So that's going to be a fun one. So for Patrick Fry and all of us here at The Average Marks, thanks for listening. And there's only one thing left to do. Outro.